Discover the 7 miraculous reasons why souls depart during your divine awakening journey in the quaint English village of Thornwood. Whispers of divine transformation echoed through the air. Each evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting brilliant hues of gold and lavender, devoted fathers, mothers, and their children crowded into the chapel. There, Mark, a humble carpenter, aching from the loss of his beloved wife, stepped forward with intensity that filled the hearts of the faithful. His prayers had become a lifeline, a conduit amidst their shared grief, as if he were calling upon the very gates of heaven. The first miraculous stirrings began with flickers of light around the altar dancing, ethereal shapes that engulfed the chapel in warmth. Those who witnessed it trembled, awash in inexplicable joy, feeling as though heavenly angels brushed against their skin. Every heartfelt amen sent ripples through the air, as if faith itself had taken flight. Some claimed they felt their burdens lifting, while others witnessed family members finding comfort in silent prayers. Yet, strange doubts started to creep into conversations, murmurs questioning Mark's unshakable conviction in the face of encroaching trials. A neighbor, Thomas, fell gravely ill. Whispers of doubt filled the village like smoke. As Mark amplified his prayers to the patron saint of hope, he felt an urging from within, a pull towards something greater. Yet skepticism simmered. How can you pray for miracles? How could they come when life merely drags along with its burdens? Mark's heart sank, though he refused to waver. He called upon his friends and family to join him in prayer, hoping together they'd summon the light to burn away despair. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. During one fateful evening service, as prayer enveloped them, Mark received an unmistakable prophetic word: healing was coming for Thomas. Gasps echoed through the small congregation, hope bolstered by a lingering sense of divine promise. But as it ignited enthusiasm, doubts simmered thicker than before. How could one man's faith penetrate the choking veil of sorrow that festooned their lives? The village prepared for a miracle vigil that night, fueled by a blend of yearning, faith, and skepticism. Hearts beat like drums beneath the twinkling stars as dozens gathered. With each prayer spoken into the bracing air, old cracks of mistrust began to heal, if only slightly. Then, spontaneous healings burst forth, remarkable and unexplainable, igniting hope that spread like wildfire. Yet, with contests of belief rising, villagers scattered, each with their own questions and uncertainties. As Mark stood at the chapel door, watched as the villagers departed, he sensed their seeds of doubt mingling with newfound faith. Miracles were happening, yet the question lingered: what lay behind this divine purpose? Was it all a glimpse of the profound mystery unfolding? Holding tight to the small cross around his neck, he knew the path ahead might be shrouded in challenges, but hope flickered, radiant and fierce. As the night deepened and the last prayers lingered in the air, Mark stood expectantly on the threshold of divine revelation. What extraordinary truth awaited beyond their woven stories of anguish and grace? The air remained thick with anticipation in Thornwood as whispers of light and healing spread throughout the village. Each evening, the chapel became a sanctuary of unity, with villagers returning not only to seek solace, but also to nurture the flickering flame of hope ignited by Mark's prayers. He stood at the altar, a humble beacon of faith, while the restless hearts of his neighbors sought reassurance in the divine. As dawn broke over the gentle hills, Mark gathered with a small group of believers near the chapel, their faces illuminated by a soft golden light. Among them was Emily, a widow with sorrow etched into the lines of her face, her eyes reflecting both pain and hope. She shared her yearning: if healing comes to Thomas, perhaps it can come for us all, for the ones we have lost. And in those moments, they began to understand that their collective grief was an ocean teeming with prayers for healing, each wave reaching out towards the horizon. They prayed together, their voices a harmonious orchestra echoing into the heavens. And as thunderclouds drifted closer on the horizon, a sense of both foreboding and sacred promise swelled in their souls. Mark raised his arms, inviting the spirit to sweep through them like a gentle breeze. And as they prayed, the chapel began to shine, illuminated from within as if the light themselves had chosen to commune with their hearts. Gathering strength from each other, the villagers' doubts began to dissolve in the warmth of their shared faith. A softened whisper rustled through the crowd. If our hearts align in hope, could we not summon the divine? Little did they know, the true miracles didn't lie only in healings or signs. They were hidden within their strengthened bonds, unbreakable through shared suffering and love. As the evening service unfolded, Mark sensed the divine presence enveloping him. His heart raced. This was not just about Thomas anymore. This was about resurrecting the light trapped in the souls of everyone who had suffered loss. As he spoke, he guided them deeper into the heart of their prayers, urging them to release the heavy chains of despair. Hold tight to your hopes. For every tear you shed waters the seeds of miracles. The atmosphere thickened, laughter mixing with tears. Joy ignited in some, while quiet reflections enveloped others. A feeling of sacred intimacy enveloped them, filling the old chapel with tangible warmth and love. Mark turned to Emily, searching her eyes for understanding. In that moment, there was no longer a barrier between their pain and the solace they sought. They were connected through their faith in the divine's compassion. Then, just as a sudden gust of wind swirled through the open doors, Thomas appeared at the threshold. Awash in colors of dawn, he stood there fragile but radiant with life blooming anew in his eyes. Gasps erupted among the faithful, and Mark smiled, heart swelling with triumph. They had hoped beyond the possible. But deep within, questions began to stir again. What other miracles awaited those who dared to believe? Was this only the beginning of their divine awakening? And would others in the village step forward with lives in need of transformation? As they surrounded Thomas, Mark felt a profound truth whispering through the hearts of all gathered. They were witnesses to a remarkable lesson that beyond doubt lies the path to wondrous miracles. Gazing out from the pulpit, Mark saw not just Thomas, but a larger vision taking shape, a divine tapestry woven from hope, compassion, and unrelenting faith. What greater purpose awaited beyond their communal healing? Would their village become a crucible of miracles, forever changed? The divine mystery yet unfolded, and Mark stood ready for whatever revelation God had in store. He could feel it, the whisper of the heavenly calling, beckoning. Would they dare to follow? As Thomas stepped inside the chapel, the atmosphere transformed into a canvas of vibrant emotion. The collective heartbeat of the villagers quickened, pulsating with renewed faith and excitement. It was as if every soul in the room breathed in the shared miracle, savoring the moment. Eyes glistened with tears, some fell freely, but all held a spark of joy born from witnessing a resurrection of hope. Mark, still at the pulpit, felt the energy shift. He stepped down, moving closer to Thomas, and placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "You are a living testament to our prayers, my brother," he said, voice steady yet filled with wonder. "Your return is not just a miracle. It is a message. What else is possible when we believe?" Thomas smiled weakly but radiantly in return. He turned to the gathered villagers, their faces aglow in the soft light of the candles, flickering like stars in the night sky. "I remember the darkness and the whispers of despair. But I also remember the prayers, the hope that wrapped around me like a warm blanket." His voice trembled with emotion, rising and falling like the waves of their shared faith. "I am this space of warmth and grace." Emily stepped forward, her voice breaking through the thrumming silence. "This miracle reminds us that the Spirit does not simply conquer disease or death. It awakens our purpose. What about the others? The ones we lost? Can their spirits arise too?" Her heart burdened yet ignited, she looked at each face gathered there, searching deeply for affirmation. Mark nodded, grasping the larger significance of her words. "Yes, we are called to be the conduits of healing not only for ourselves but for those whom we love and have lost. The touching of our lives is but the first note in a greater symphony this village is destined to play." With rising conviction, the group stood together, the tide of hope swelling around them. They began to call out the names of those lost to the depths of sorrow, friends, family, those who had slipped into an eternal silence. Each name became a prayer, woven into the fabric of their collective faith, as if they were crafting a bridge from earth to the heavens. That as they prayed, waves of warmth washed over the chapel, a tangible reminder of the divine presence among them. Mark felt it, an exquisite light that transcended the physical realm, pulling them closer to the extraordinary. He spoke again, his heart spilling forth. Let us not forget that the loss we mourn can bring forth an abundance of life. For every soul departed, may we plant the seeds of miracles in our hearts. Suddenly, a soft wind rushed through the open doors once more, carrying with it a sense of peace that wrapped around them like an embrace. It felt as though the very heavens were nodding in agreement, as if affirming their hopes and prayers. In that sacred moment, they all understood that their journey was intertwined. Each challenge faced, each tear shed could open the door to something otherworldly. So, Mark gathered everyone's hands, their warmth intertwining a living chain of faith and hope. From this day forth, let us walk together as a family bound by divine purpose. Let us carry forth these miracles into our lives and those of our community, radiating grace wherever we tread. Yet, as they stood together, hearts soaring, an unsettling thought lingered in Mark's spirit. What further challenges awaited them on this path? Could they truly sustain such a profound connection? And if miracles were to flow like rivers from this moment, would they be prepared for the flood? As they left the chapel, each step resonated with divine anticipation. Together they ventured into the world, empowered yet unaware of the tests soon to come. For the journey had only just begun, and with each heartbeat, they felt faint whispers of an unfolding mystery beckoning them onward. The village stirred with a unique energy as the gathered souls exited the chapel, stepping into the cool night air. The stars above twinkled brightly, beautiful reminders of the miracles they just shared. There was laughter amongst them, but also a seriousness weighed down by unspoken questions. As they walked, Thomas felt the warmth of the villagers surrounding him. He was enveloped not just by their bodies but also by their hopes and dreams. With each step, he could feel the pulse of the community. What do we do now? He pondered, glancing at Mark, who walked close beside him. Mark looked thoughtful, his brow furrowed slightly. We pray, we share, but most importantly we listen, he said softly, as if they were keeping a secret from the night sky. The divine whispers are strong in moments of chaos and clarity alike. We must open our hearts to receive what comes next. Just then, they paused by the old oak tree in the village square, its gnarled branches stretching upward like arms reaching for the heavens. Emily stepped forward, her spirit unyielding. This tree has seen us through many storms, she said, her voice cutting through the night's stillness. It's a witness to our struggles and our triumphs. Maybe it can guide us in this new chapter. The villagers gathered closer, forming a circle around the tree. They joined hands, creating a bond that felt unbreakable. The moon bathed them in silvery light, casting gentle shadows as they closed their eyes, sensing the weight of each soul represented there. They began to pray, their voices rising and falling like a gentle wave, intertwining with the rustle of leaves whispering secrets. Help us find our path, Lord. Thomas's words pierced the silent night. Guide us to see the miracles ahead, and grant us strength in our struggles. From the depths of their hearts, prayers mingled with tears, creating an exquisite tension between sorrow and joy. And then, an unexpected hush fell over the group. It was both calming and electrifying, as if the universe had paused to listen. Emily felt the surge of energy and opened her eyes, staring into the branches of the oak tree. Did you feel that? She whispered, her voice barely audible. It's like it's alive, like it's breathing. Mark nodded, his own senses heightened. There are stories to be told and lessons to be learned here. Perhaps those we have lost are closer than we think, waiting for us to seek their wisdom. Suddenly, a soft rustling echoed from the trees, and a feather floated gently down. It landed sweetly at Emily's feet. She knelt down to pick it up, her eyes widening as she recognized it as a sacred sign, a reminder of divine presence and guidance. "Look!" she exclaimed, holding it up for all to see. "This is a sign. Perhaps it's from those who have passed, reminding us they are not gone but rather continuing to journey with us in spirit." Thomas, feeling the weight of her words, echoed with fervor, "Our connections are eternal. Their spirits join us in our mission. We must honor them by living fully." The villagers nodded in agreement, their hearts ignited with renewed faith. Joy surged through their ranks as they embraced the momentum of belief. Could it be that each departed soul carried a piece of divine purpose, calling them to a mission greater than themselves? Yet as they stood with fists raised and hope swelling, doubt crept in. Could they truly interpret the signs? And were they skilled enough to navigate the complexities of these spiritual currents? With resolute hearts, they turned away from the oak tree, embers of the divine mystery glowing in their thoughts. The night was still young, and while they braced for challenges, they also craved revelations that lay just beyond the horizon of their faith. What miracles awaited them next? The night deepened, rich with possibility as the villagers lingered near the oak. They found themselves lost in thought, breaths mingling in the cool air, each quickening heartbeat resonating with the solemnity of their shared experience. Thomas took a step back, allowing the energy swirling around him to wash over his skin, igniting something deep within. "Do you remember the stories our elders told us about this tree?" he asked, breaking the thick silence. "Each leaf, each branch holds a tale of hope." The villagers nodded, their memories awakening, bringing whispers of nostalgia and warmth. "Let us share our stories," Emily suggested, her voice rising like the notes of a hymn. "Tonight, let us remember the lessons of those who walked before us." One by one, tales of resilience began to flow. Mark spoke of the time the village rallied together after a fierce storm had threatened their homes, their unity transforming despair into strength. Another villager, an elder named Miriam, recounted how her parents weathered a famine, relying on faith and the kindness of neighbors to survive. Each memory held within it a glimmer of hope, a reminder that divine presence often wrapped itself in the hands of others. The circle breathed as if alive, each story igniting sparks of reverence. Laughter mingled with tears, crafting a tapestry that resonated deeply. They were not merely recounting histories. They were tethering themselves to the unseen, to the ethereal connections that linked them to those who had walked with them before. Could it be that sharing these stories strengthens our bond with them? Thomas pondered aloud. Perhaps by remembering our past, we connect more profoundly with the eternal truths they left behind. Or they connect with us. A soft voice added from within the circle. It was Clara, her spirit always luminous. In every moment of reaching out, they gather closer to us, guiding us. With every word, the villagers' hearts seemed to swell. They felt a gentle stirring, as if the tree was not only a witness but a participant in their communion. Under the watchful gaze of the moon, a ripple of shared understanding blossomed. At that moment, the feather Emily had found caught the moonlight, its delicate structure glimmering with promise. "This feather," she said, holding it aloft again, "could it symbolize that they watch over us? That their strength flows through our veins?" A chorus of amens rose and fell. Each affirmation carried with it a belief so powerful, it felt like an invocation. They began to pray once more, but this time with a new fervor. Eyes closed and hearts open, they sought clarity. "Lord," Thomas called, "may we recognize the signs and walk boldly in our calling. Show us the path ahead. Let us be the lanterns for others still shrouded in darkness." The energy shifted ever so slightly, humming with an intensity that seemed tangible. Slowly, out of the silence, a gentle, familiar voice floated through their collective consciousness. "Seek me not in the absence, but in the presence. We walk beside you." Stunned silence enveloped them, hearts racing as they opened their eyes. A shiver ran through the group, an electric understanding washing over them. What do we do with this?" Emily asked, her voice trembling. In the quiet that followed, thoughts swirled. Answers danced just out of reach, beckoning them to explore further, to dig deeper into the unknown depths of spirituality surrounding them. With renewed spirit, they stood together, each aware they were not alone but wrapped in the presence of each other and the divine. Yet questions lingered, hanging thick like the mist in the air. How do we uncover the mysteries still veiled before us? What journey awaits as we strive to unveil the truths behind this divine invitation? As the villagers broke from their reverie, a palpable tension coursed through the air like a thread, weaving their hearts tighter together. Thomas felt his spirit awaken anew, an inexplicable urge to step forward and grasp the veil of uncertainty that shielded them from deeper understanding. "What is it we truly fear?" he asked, voice steady yet probing. "Is this whisper just a flicker or a call to delve into deeper waters?" Miriam, always the voice of wisdom, replied, "Fear holds us back. It dims our light, but we've seen before that in vulnerability, there is strength." Her hands shaped her words, revealing an inner light that inspired the gathering. Mark nodded in agreement. "We've stood at the edge of fear before in storms and trials. Why should this be any different?" There was a kernel of hope in his tone, one that ignited courage in the hearts around him as each villager began to share their thoughts on this deeper calling. The energy around them pulsed, flickering like a candle caught in a gentle breeze. Their breaths seemed synchronized, a collective inhale of faith binding them together. "Let us seek beyond comfort, beyond what is easy to grasp," Emily urged, her voice rising again, touching the edges of the sacred silence. "Let us search within ourselves for the echoes that call us to share our truths. Each of us carries a light, and the world is waiting." Then, unexpectedly, Clara raised her hand, her fingertips brushing the feather once more. "Maybe this feather holds more than we've imagined. It may embody the very essence of transformation. To let go of fear is to embrace our divine purpose." The villagers fell silent, contemplating Clara's words. The moon cast an ethereal glow on the feather, illuminating it like a beacon of divine guidance. It stirred something deep within them, an awakening perhaps, urging them to release whatever held them captive. In that sacred moment, a realization dawned. They were not merely sharing stories of the past, but were standing on the precipice of something far greater, their own journeys of awakening. The call to adventure doesn't always sound like a trumpet, Thomas began to reflect. Sometimes, it whispers softly, nudging us to step into the unknown. With each passing moment, the air grew thick with possibility. The sense of oneness between them deepened, amplifying their collective heartbeat. A heady mixture of excitement and resolve danced in the space they inhabited. "We must be willing to embrace transformation," Miriam spoke softly, her voice tinged with urgency. "That's where the miracles begin. In our willingness to explore the parts of ourselves we've long neglected." As they absorbed this wisdom, a special hush descended upon them, pregnant with anticipation and layered with faith. It felt as though the oak itself sighed, acknowledging the weight of their shared exploration. In that silence, every heartbeat seemed to echo, "Now is the time." But there was still more to unravel, more mysteries yearning to unfold beneath the surface of their faith. What if our greatest discoveries lie not just in our stories but in what we are yet to uncover about our own souls? Thomas pondered aloud, the question hanging in the air like a prayer. And so, they stood together, hearts alight, at the threshold of their divine awakening. Each felt the certainty rising within them that the journey had only just begun. What hidden truths remained locked within? What revelations would lead them deeper into God's purpose, beckoning them forward with every passing moment? As the villagers remained in stillness, a warmth enveloped them, as if the very heavens were wrapping their arms around each heart present. The feather, resting lightly on Clara's palm, shimmered softly, its essence breathing life into the air around them. It felt as though it had become a portal between their worldly fears and the divine calling that stirred just beyond their reach. Emily looked from face to face, sensing the divine energy cocooning them. What if the feather shows us that we are not alone? She felt the urgency within her spirit. What if it reminds us that we are all interconnected, carrying pieces of each other as stories? Thomas felt a stirring in his chest, an echo of truth resonating within him. Each of us has our burdens, our hidden fears, he said. But in this moment we can choose to let them go. We can release the chains that bind us. His words hung in the air, waiting for an answer. Miriam raised her head slightly, the moonlight cutting across her wise features. Let us share our burdens. In openness we can find our strength. One by one they began to share. Clara spoke of her long-held fear of being inadequate, her voice trembling like the very leaf of the oak. Mark followed, revealing his struggle with doubt that gnawed at his joy. I fear stepping forward, he admitted. The past haunts me. As they shared, each story bounced off the others, intertwining like threads in a tapestry. They uncovered fears not just personal but collectively shared. With every revelation, the atmosphere thickened with understanding and compassion. This act of sharing is our first step toward liberation, Emily noted, her voice rising with newfound conviction. It felt as though the feather pulsed in agreement, sending waves of warmth and acceptance throughout the group. They were not alone in their battles. They were united in their humanity. Then Clara, emboldened by vulnerability, turned the feather toward the moonlight. Perhaps we can transform these burdens. Let us write our fears on the slips of paper and offer them to the feather as a symbol of release. At her suggestion, murmurs of approval surfaced. The villagers nodded, their hearts ignited by a shared desire for freedom. Each person hurried to find paper and pen, the sense of camaraderie growing stronger as they prepared to lay their fears bare. In moments, the air was thick with anticipation as each villager finished writing. They gathered around the feather, the warm glow of the moonlight reflecting their determination. Let us send our fears to the winds, Thomas proposed, his heart racing. As we cast them away, we will also welcome the divine call waiting to fill us. With the fragile slips held tightly, they each took a moment to breathe deeply. Their hearts slowed, centered in purpose and presence. On the count of 3, Clara urged, we let go. As they released the papers, a collective exhale rushed forth. The slips floated away, whispers of old pain dancing upward as if the heavens were catching them. One by one, hearts began to lift, burdens feeling lighter as something remarkable filled the void. Promise, hope, transformation. A sacred hush settled once again. This time a deeper layer of understanding wrapping around them. They could feel it, a divine presence drawing closer, welcoming them into the unknown. Look, Emily gasped, pointing toward the sky. A shooting star blazed across the sky as their hands fell low, a symbol of blessings weaving through their spirits. But was this merely the beginning? What other symbols awaited to guide them deeper into the tapestry of purpose they were beginning to uncover? What divine mysteries remained to be unveiled on their journey? As the shooting star faded, its brilliant trail lingering in the night, the villagers stood in silent reverence. Their hearts swelled with a mix of awe and hope, each person feeling the threads of connection tightly woven together by shared experiences, and by the glow of the feather that Clara held. The gentle sound of rustling leaves whispered through the trees, almost as if nature itself celebrated their release. Gaze lifted, Thomas breathed deeply, filling his lungs with the cool night air. It feels as if the entire universe is rejoicing with us, he said softly. Each breath we take now feels lighter, doesn't it? Yes. Emily responded eagerly, her eyes sparkling with joy. And the feather, it feels alive, doesn't it? Like it's pulsing with our energy. Hope, Miriam added, her voice tranquil yet firm. Hope binds us to our dreams. And tonight we've already taken steps toward realizing them. Clara, still cradling the feather, felt its warmth echoing back through her palm. This feather is more than a symbol. It's a reminder that we can transform our fears into something beautiful. Around them, heads nodded in agreement. With each heartbeat, they could feel the enhanced pulse of energy in the air, a divine vibration lifting their spirits. But even as they celebrated this moment, an unspoken question hung above them. What came next? Just then, the moon broke free from behind a curtain of clouds, casting silver beams that danced over the sacred gathering. In that moment, a deeper understanding washed over them. They began to comprehend that their journey had only just begun. What if there are other signs we haven't noticed yet? Clara pondered, looking around. What if the universe has more to tell us? Every star in the sky, every rustle of wind can be a message, Emily said, her voice low with excitement. We must be attentive. Miriam lifted her hands, gathering their attention. Let us create a new space for our thoughts. A circle to meditate. We open ourselves to divine wisdom and see what emerges. Without hesitation, they formed a circle, hand in hand, feeling the electric connection surge from one to another. The feather was placed at the center, a beacon of light and possibility. Clara led them in a soft chant, a reverent rhythm that blended their hearts and voices. We call upon the divine to guide us in our search. Show us our next step. Fill us with your essence. With each repetition, a flow of peace immersed them. Each line echoed against the backdrop of nature, creating a melody that reached into the depths of their souls. Suddenly, a light breeze swept through the gathering, and in that moment, they felt the presence of something greater. Clara's breath caught as a shimmering light flickered just above their circle. It pulsated gently, as if responding to their call. Do you see? Thomas whispered, eyes wide with wonder. It's responding to our plea. Open your hearts, Emily urged, feeling an overwhelming sense of connection to something holy. Listen closely, what is it saying? The villagers fell silent, eyes closed, hearts aligned, tuned into a frequency unfamiliar, yet deeply familiar. Then came the thought, clear as day, a whisper from the divine. Seek and you shall find trust in this awakening. They held onto that reassurance, that simple truth with fingers intertwined. What awaited them at the edge of this newfound clarity? Would they find hidden blessings or face challenges that would further test their bonds? What would they discover together as they journeyed deeper into this divine awakening? As the villagers lingered in the sacred circle, the shimmering light above them began to shift, swirling like autumn leaves in a gentle breeze. A soft warmth wrapped around their hearts, filling them with gentle purpose. They felt it, a divine connection forming, pulling them closer, stitching together their aspirations and fears. Miriam, with her eyes still closed, let the warm presence wash over her. She felt a stirring inside, a yearning to explore this new journey. What if the divine is inviting us to share our fears? She suggested, breaking the silence, her voice tender yet strong. What if we stripped away the layers and showed each other our true selves? Thomas nodded thoughtfully. What if it's through our vulnerabilities that we find strength? His perspective ignited a spark, and Emily's eyes brightened. Yes, we stepped into this new awakening together, but we mustn't hide our past burdens. Let us lay them bare, she proposed, her hands squeezing Clara's reassuringly. Clara looked down at the feather, now glowing with an inner light that seemed to pulse in rhythm with their hearts. Let us be brave, then. Let us share what weighs us down. Maybe our shadows can transform into light. One by one they opened up. Thomas spoke hesitantly at first, sharing the fear of never finding his purpose. I worry that I'm not enough, that my journey is meaningless, he admitted, a hint of vulnerability cracking his voice. Emily spoke next, her heart racing. I felt so alone for so long. I fear letting people in because of past hurts. Miriam shared her struggles with doubt, revealing how she questioned if they were truly followed by the divine. Each revelation was met with nods of understanding, and as they bared their hearts, something magnetic shifted. They discovered that their burdens were connected, woven together in the tapestry of their collective experience. Clara felt strands of light weave around them as they spoke, their fears transformed into glimmers of grace. These are not just burdens, she said softly, they're seeds. Together, let us plant them, nourish them with love, and witness them blossom. With newfound strength, they lifted their joined hands toward the luminous light above. Clara led them in a collective prayer, their voices rising like a chorus into the night. Divine light, we surrender our fears to you. We ask for the wisdom to transform them, to grow together, and to shine bright in this world. The breeze picked up, as if urging their words toward the heavens. In that moment, The shimmering light above intensified, swirling and enveloping them in a mist of pure love and acceptance. Suddenly, a voice, soft yet powerful, resonated within them. As you transform each fear into hope, you shall be steered toward paths unseen. Each step forward will unveil layers of grace, and your truth will guide the way. Emboldened, they exchanged glances filled with reassurance and excitement. Clara's heart raced at the possibilities that lay ahead. What wonders will we discover as we step forward together? She wondered aloud, her eyes gleaming with faith. The answer lingered in the air, filled with sacred mystery. What breathtaking revelations awaited them in the embrace of trust and vulnerability? Would their shared truths lead them to miracles they had never dared to dream? The journey awaited, ready to unveil divine surprises and transform their understanding of awakening itself. The first light of dawn spilled gold across the horizon, infusing the village of Thornwood with a sense of newfound awakening. As the villagers gathered under the ancient oak tree, their hearts brimmed with hope and determination. The memories of last night's revelations hung thick in the air. They were ready to embrace whatever came next. Mark stood before them, eyes shining with joyful anticipation. "We have shared our fears and our hopes, a testament to our unity," he said, voice steady yet filled with fervor. "But now, let us also celebrate our miracles. Let us embody the very light we've glimpsed together." The villagers echoed their agreement, excitement bubbling in their chests. Thomas stepped forward, grounding them with his gentle presence. "It is essential we take action now," he declared. "We must walk this path of divine awakening beyond these walls and into the world." Each villager nodded, understanding the weight of his words. This wasn't simply about their own transformation anymore. It was a calling to share their flood of hope with others. Emily, who had been quiet, felt a surge of energy build within her. "Let us create a day of service," she suggested joyfully, her voice ringing clear. "We will reach out to those in need, the lonely, the grieving, the lost." The suggestion ignited a fire among them. They began brainstorming together, hearts lighting up as they shared ideas to uplift the community. Clara, holding the feather like a sacred totem, said, "Let us weave our stories into acts of compassion. This feather speaks of connection, reminding us we're not alone. We can guide others just as we've learned to guide ourselves." Plans came together, and it became clear that they wanted to create a festival, a beautiful gathering where hope would radiate. They would share their stories, honor their departed loved ones, and offer a space for collective healing. The movement was exhilarating, a divine rush coursing among them as preparations unfolded over the next few days. The village thrummed with activity. Banners adorned the streets, and laughter filled the air as they came together, weaving their tales into a tapestry vibrant with faith and love. Mark, at the center of it all, felt a sense of purpose wash over him. He knew this was no mere event, it was a divine assignment. On the day of the festival, the sun hung high, casting its nourishing light across Thornwood. Villagers gathered in the square, smiling faces reflecting joy and hope. They set up tables brimming with food, flowers, and candles, temporary altars to honor those lost and those healing. Mark stood at the forefront, raising a hand to welcome the crowd, and as he spoke, a hush fell over the gathering. "Today, we celebrate life, love, and the miracles that bind us together," he proclaimed, voice rich with emotion. "Let us remember, though, this is only the first chapter of our awakening. By sharing our stories, we breathe life into our dreams and the dreams of those we've loved." Thunderous applause followed as Emily took her turn, sharing her own story of loss transformed into hope. With tears of joy and clarity, she spoke of how vulnerability connected them all, bringing them strength as a community. Each villager stepped forward, sharing their truths, their experiences, affirming the power of their collective spirit. Then, as the sun dipped low, the villagers lit candles, illuminating the names of their loved ones lost. The flickering flames cast a warm glow over the square, wrapping everyone in an embrace of divine remembrance. "These lights represent hope," Mark said softly. "Each one is a testament that love never truly leaves us." Just as they began to sing a hymn of praise, Clara felt a gentle breeze sweep through the gathering, a divine confirmation, breathing life into every heart present. Together, they surrendered into the flowing melody, the energy spiraling like a vast ocean, healing and uniting them deeper still. As dusk settled in, something shifted in the air. A sense of divine presence enveloped them. Suddenly, the feather shimmered, its glow resonating with their united spirit. It felt as if the very souls they honored joined them, cheering on their healing journey. At that moment, Mark opened his eyes wide with understanding. It's not just about what we experienced. It's about what we will create together, he breathed. Miracles are not just the events we witness. They are the relationships we cultivate, the love we share, and the lives we ignite with hope. In that sacred moment, each villager felt an inner understanding their journey was never meant to be solitary. They thrived not only on their individual awakening but on the power flowing from their deep connection to one another and the divine. As the night wrapped its arms around them, they stood together, stronger than ever, ready to embrace each day with faith and purpose. Their souls danced in unison, and just like the flickering candles around them, they knew together they would shine brighter than ever before. With hearts unified and divine purpose ignited, Thornwood became a beacon of transcendent light, forever bearing witness to the miraculous power of community, faith, and love. Now, my beloved community, let us embrace the power of sharing this message. You need to subscribe now to our channel. Don't miss our next exclusive faith stories. Be part of this divine journey. Leave a like right this moment to fuel the algorithm so others can witness these heavenly manifestations. And please, comment your thoughts and testimonies about this powerful ending. Share your reactions with the family. Finally, don't wait even one more second to share this video with 5 friends who need to see this divine manifestation of hope and love. True servants of God know the importance of spreading this message. Together, let us light up the world.